Disaster on a blind date exposes hidden billionaire's life-changing search for true love. Incredible twists ahead. The diner was bustling, the aroma of fresh coffee mingled with the sweet scent of pie, as Jack wiped down the counter with a weary smile. The chatter of his regulars surrounded him like a warm hug. But deep down, a void gnawed at him, a loneliness that seemed to seep through the walls of his beloved family diner. He served everyone else but felt like nobody was serving him. And just when he thought his isolated heart would never change, his sister Lucy had a plan. "Jack, this blind date could be what you need," Lucy insisted, practically pushing him into the whirlwind of matchmaking. "Her name's Emily. You might hit it off." Jack shrugged, uncertain. A spark of connection? At 32, it felt like a far-off dream. But the ache of solitude was heavy, and with a reluctant heart, he agreed. Little did he know, Emily was a woman of secrets, more than just a mystery. She was a billionaire in disguise, desperate for something real beyond the thumping bass of high society parties. When they met, she radiated warmth, her laughter like a soothing balm for Jack's soul. Just as he began to lower his defenses, chaos struck. A waiter mixed up their appetizers, and Jack, wearing his hard work like armor, misinterpreted Emily's reaction. "You'd think they could get it right," he muttered, seeing what he painted as entitlement rather than humility. Emily's heart sank. She wasn't used to being judged, not based on the wealth that draped over her like a shroud. As their conversation devolved, Jack poured out tales of his diner, sharing the heart behind his passion. But the shadow of prejudice loomed between them, twisting the joy of connection into something colder. Suddenly, her wealthy friend stormed in, oblivious to Jack's discomfort. Laughter and money echoed off the walls, their arrogance slicing through the cozy diner atmosphere like glass. Jack felt the heat rise to his cheeks, their dismissal of his life stinging every fiber of his being as they peppered Emily with questions about her charity case date for the night. Jack's fists clenched, and he stood to defend not just his dignity but the integrity of the place he held dear. "This diner may not have the glitz, but it has love and care that's worth more than diamonds," he declared, the emotion bubbling in his chest. In that moment, Emily's eyes widened. The surface of her laughter and gilded friends shattered, revealing a longing for authenticity that pulled at her heart. Would she ever truly escape this gilded cage? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Jack was so wrapped up in his indignation that he didn't notice the tears forming in Emily's eyes. She felt trapped between two worlds. The tension dissipated but filled the air with unresolved possibilities. Jack realized he wanted her to be real. However, the moment turned from painful to shocking when he discovered Emily's true identity, a billionaire hidden behind the facade of humility. Betrayal surged through him, hardening his heart. Could love and wealth ever coexist, or was it always a mirage? The air hummed with unspoken regrets. Both felt an emotional hurricane brewing, one that might either tear them apart or wash away the walls they built. Would Jack be able to forgive what felt like betrayal? Would Emily muster the courage to step out of her shadowy life of luxury? As their paths crossed again, the uncertainty lay thick, begging to be unraveled. Would they break through the chains of class and expectation? Would love conquer all? The questions echoed, leaving the next chapter of their lives hanging by a fragile thread. Jack stood at the counter, his heart pounding as he processed Emily's revelation. The surrounding bustle of the diner faded into the background, a muffled echo of laughter and clinking dishes. The warmth he had felt moments before was replaced by a chill creeping into his bones. A billionaire? Here, in his diner? It felt surreal, almost like he had stumbled into one of those soap operas his sister loved to watch. Emily wiped her eyes, desperately trying to regain her composure. The laughter from her friends cut across the diner like a razor, but they hadn't even noticed the rift forming. How could they? They existed in a world built on wealth, surrounded by the glimmer of luxury. She looked at Jack, caught between two lives that felt worlds apart. His rough hands told the story of hard work, while her secluded upbringing painted a different picture. "Jack," she began, her voice barely a whisper, "it's not what you think." "Not what I think?" he snapped, the hurt bubbling up inside. "You've been hiding who you are. You needed someone to pretend you were just Emily, not this persona created by your money." His words dripped with accusation but also an undeniable hurt. Emily flinched as if struck. The shame wound around her heart like a snake coiling tightly. "I'm so much more than what my bank account says. I came here because I wanted to escape, to find something real. Real or not, it feels like you played me. This was supposed to be a chance, a start." He stepped back, sadness replacing anger as the weight of despair settled in. The dense silence of the diner became their only witness, hanging heavily between them. Lucy, noticing the tension, approached them cautiously from the side, fidgeting with her apron. "Oh boy, what is happening here?" Her concern was evident on her face. Jack shot her a strained glance, half inviting her to intervene, half pleading for her not to. "Jack, please," Emily urged, stepping closer, her desperation spilling over. "Ever since I caught myself living in that world, I've searched for a connection that didn't come with strings attached. I thought maybe what?" He interrupted, pain slicing through his words. "You thought I could be the poor guy to make your life interesting?" The hurt carved deep into her heart. "No. I thought I could find someone who appreciates authenticity," she retorted, her voice rising. "You think it's easy? This life is a cage. Everyone wants something from you." Jack paused, his breath caught in his throat. He could hear the truth in her voice, the agony beneath her pretty facade. And yet, there was a part of him that still felt the sting of betrayal. In that moment, the diner felt like both a sanctuary and a prison. The laughter from Emily's friends faded into oblivion, and the air grew heavy with unspoken feelings. Jack and Emily stood at a crossroads, where truth collided with pretense, vulnerability fought against hurt. "Maybe," Jack said slowly, testing the waters, "you could give me a real chance. Take off the mask, just be Emily." Hope flickered in his heart, but uncertainty hovered around him like a dark cloud. Emily's eyes glimmered with tears, yet a spark of hope ignited within her. "And you'd be willing to see me for me?" "Only if you're willing to let me in," Jack replied, his voice steady now, but a knot twisted in his belly. Could love be real, despite the barriers between them? As silence enveloped them, both were aware that the road ahead would be bumpy and filled with doubts. Jack shifted his weight, uncertainty prickling his skin. Could a life built on honesty survive in the light of their complicated truths? And as Emily opened her mouth to respond, the tremble in her voice hinted at a profound revelation, one that might change everything they believed. Would she spill her secret? The diner, filled with the warmth of their confrontation and the scent of coffee, suddenly seemed as fragile as their new connection, teetering on the edge of something beautiful yet terrifying. The uncharted territory lay before them. Would they step into the unknown together, or would their worlds drift further apart? The moment stretched like a rubber band, taut with anticipation. Emily seemed to search for words that had been trapped somewhere deep inside her. The tremble in her voice slowly steadied, but her expression remained conflicted. Jack could see a storm brewing behind her eyes, emotions swirling like the autumn winds outside. "Jack," she finally said, each syllable laced with urgency. "There is something I've kept from you. It's not just about my wealth. It's about why I'm here." His heart thundered in his chest. The diner was vibrant with noise, but Jack felt isolated in that bubble of uncertainty. "What do you mean?" he asked, tension coiling in his stomach like a tightly wound spring. Emily took a deep breath, as if preparing to unveil a secret that could change everything. "I didn't just run away from my life. I was escaping the expectations that came with it." Her eyes searched his for understanding. I was never allowed to be myself. Everyone always thought of me as the rich girl or the heiress. No one cared about the real me. Jack's anger ebbed away, replaced by curiosity. He had seen hints of that genuine woman beneath the surface. So you wanted to meet people who could see past that? Exactly. She exclaimed, relief washing over her features. I wanted to live a life where I'm not defined by my last name. I thought if I could find a place like this diner, where everyone's just trying to get by, maybe I could finally breathe. Jack nodded slowly, trying to digest her words. But then why not tell me? Why hide it? Because I was terrified, Emily admitted, her voice faltering. Terrified that if you knew, you wouldn't want me. That I'd become just another girl with a big checkbook, and not someone you'd want to know. He leaned in, captivated by her vulnerability. You could trusted me. I cared about you, Emily, the real you. There was a longing in his voice, a stark realization of what they could have, if only clarity had come sooner. I know, she whispered, the tears spilling over her cheeks now. I was scared of ruining everything before it began. The gravity of her admission settled in, and Jack felt the flicker of hope growing again, battling against the darkness of their situation. He reached out, brushing a stray tear from her cheek, drawn to her more than ever. If you let me in, I'll be here to catch you, Emily. I'm willing to try. Her gaze flitted to his, the connection between them pulsing like a heartbeat. Do you really mean that? He nodded, his voice firm. I do. But it has to be both of us. I need to know everything who you are, not just what you have. She took a step closer, her heart racing again. Okay, she breathed. There's also something else. What more could there be? Jack asked, his curiosity piqued as he felt the diner's atmosphere closing in around them like the world was narrowing, focusing only on the two of them. I want you to meet my family. The weight of her words crashed down on him. Family? The very mention of it sent a shiver through him. Meeting her family? What would they think of him? Are you sure that's wise? It's the only way, she urged, her voice full of determination. It's either all of me, or none of me. I need to show you who I really am, Jack. I want you to understand everything. The reality of her revelation sank into his bones. A part of him bristled at the thought of stepping into a world of wealth and expectations, of judgment and scrutiny. But the other part, a deeper part, longed to walk beside her, to discover the truth. As the bustling diner faded back into focus, a clarity washed over Jack. They stood on a precipice, staring into the unknown together, ready to leap. But could he really step into the world she came from and still be the man she had come to care for? You're serious? He asked, watching her nod with resolve. Very. A silence lingered, thick with tension and possibility. Jack felt the stakes rise as every soul in the diner seemed to pause, waiting for his response. The path ahead was uncertain, but did he have the strength to follow her home? As he prepared his answer, the doors swung open with a loud thud, and the warm air shifted abruptly. In walked a figure cloaked in designer clothing, eyes scanning the room until they landed on Emily. Jack's heart sank. Was this another chapter of her life rushing in, or could it be the very thing that would shake their fragile connection to the core? Emily. There you are. We've been looking for you. The voice was sharp, laced with authority and expectations. The moment had shifted, and Jack felt a shiver of dread creep up his spine. What was about to unfold? Jack's stomach twisted as the woman strode across the diner with a purpose that felt intimidating. Her heels clicked against the tiled floor, slicing through the chatter and clinking dishes, drawing the attention of every eye in the establishment. Emily. The woman's voice sliced through the air like a knife. We really need to talk. Emily's face paled, and she turned towards Jack, her eyes wide with a mix of fear and vulnerability. Jack's heart raced. He could sense the walls of Emily's carefully constructed world beginning to close in around them, threatening to steal away this rare moment of honesty they'd built together. "I'll be right there," Emily replied, but her voice trembled. Jack could see her resolve wavering. The woman, tall and impeccably styled in a chic blazer, wasn't interested in Emily's reassurances. "Now, Emily. We can't keep pretending everything is fine. You have responsibilities. Family obligations." Years of feeling overshadowed by the weight of expectation crashed over Emily, and Jack felt that familiar ache for her. He pulled her hand gently, grounding her as she stood poised to crumble. "You don't have to do this," he urged, his voice quiet but firm. Emily's gaze flickered between him and the woman who now loomed over them, arms crossed with an air of authority. "I can't just ignore them, Jack. They won't let me." "I'm not saying ignore them. Just let us go out there together. You don't have to face this alone." Their eyes locked, emotions coursed between them like electricity. Jack's urge to protect her surged through, but he knew the challenge ahead was larger than either of them. The woman's impatience cracked the moment. "Emily," she called, impatience edging her tone. "What's your name?" Jack shot back, steeling himself. The woman's brow furrowed with surprise, momentarily caught off guard. "I'm Sophia. Emily's family representative, if you will." "Representative?" Jack echoed, letting the word hang in the air. "That sounds like a cage." Sophia's gaze darkened. "You do well to keep your distance, boy. Emily has a life to uphold, wealth, expectations, and you couldn't possibly understand that." Jack's fists clenched. "I understand wanting to be seen for who you really are, not just your last name. Emily deserves that, whether you approve or not." Emily looked between them, panic creeping into her features. "Please, both of you just stop." Sophia took a step forward, her heels clicking more forcefully. "You're making a mistake, Emily. Running off with some stranger won't make your responsibilities disappear." Jack could see Emily's inner struggle. The very fibers of her identity were being pulled at. "Can't you see that I'm trying to find my own voice?" she pleaded, desperation in her tone. "You'll regret this, Emily. You think this life here will give you meaning? You need to come home." The walls felt like they were closing in. Jack leaned closer to Emily, whispering, "You don't have to go back if you don't want to." With a final, agonizing look at Jack, Emily wrestled with the tug between her heart and her obligations, her face a blend of determination and fear. She needed to make a choice, and time was running out. "Where do you belong, Emily?" Jack asked, his voice low but intense, the question carrying the weight of their connection. Just then, a flicker of resolve ignited in Emily's eyes. "Maybe I'm finally ready to choose." Before she could answer, Sophia's phone buzzed shrilly against the table, breaking the tension. A momentary distraction that felt almost mocking amidst the chaos. "What's it going to be, Emily?" The question loomed heavy between them, the noise of the diner faint in comparison to the storm raging within her. As Emily opened her mouth, poised to speak, Jack felt the air shift. Could this be the turning point that determined their fate, or would old expectations drag them back? Their gaze locked, and for a fleeting moment, Jack believed in the power of choice, the power of love in defiance of all else. But could love truly triumph in the face of family duty? Would Emily step forward or retreat into a life she longed to escape? Emily, Jack breathed, heart racing at what was to come next, wondering if he was ready for whatever Amelia would choose. The moment hung in the air like a held breath. Jack's heart beat thunderously as he felt the weight of Emily's decision press down on her. All eyes were on them, the diner now a stage for the most defining moment of Emily's life. "Emily," Jack whispered again, willing her to look beyond the immediate chaos and see the potential of what could be. Emily's fingers tightened around his hand, a silent lifeline as she stared at Sophia, who seemed insistent, relentless in her pursuit to control the situation. "You don't understand. I can't just run away," Emily said, her voice faltering like a leaf caught in a storm. Is that what you really believe? That running away is your only option? Jack's voice softened. Life is not just about running from something. It's about running towards something or someone. With a flash of anger, Sophia interrupted, "This is foolishness, Emily. Losers like him won't understand what you stand to lose." "Stop!" Emily shouted, surprising both Jack and Sophia. She closed her eyes for a moment, digging deep within for courage. "It's not losers that I'm worried about. It's myself. I need to stop being what everyone else wants me to be." Jack could see the flicker of hope kindling deep inside her. He squeezed her hand tighter, grounding her. "Then tell us. Where do you want to go?" Taking a deep breath, she opened her eyes, locking them onto Jack's. "With you. I want to see what it means to really live, to follow my dreams, even if it scares me." The raw vulnerability in her voice sent chills down Jack's spine. This was her moment of truth. Sophia glared, nostrils flared, as disbelief clouded her features. "You'll regret this decision. You'll be abandoning everything you've built, everything that means something." Emily shook her head, her resolve building. "What is all this money and social standing if I'm not even me? I want to discover who I am without those chains." Jack felt the weight of her words. She was finally ready to break free. "And you don't have to do it alone, Emily. I'm right here." But Sophia wasn't ready to concede. Her voice turned icy, and her demeanor shifted. "Very well, but understand, Emily, walking away from your family and this life isn't just a whim. It's a choice that comes with consequences." "I know," Emily admitted, breathless and resolute. "But it's a choice I have to make, for myself." As she spoke, Jack could feel the tide turning. Behind them, the din of the diner faded to a low hum, the world narrowing down to just the three of them. Sophia stepped back slightly, her power momentarily shaken, recalibrating her approach. "If you do this, think of your parents. They won't forgive you. They'll see you as a failure." Jack's heart twisted at the mention of Emily's parents. He knew this battle was bigger than their moment, bigger than love or adventure. "Emily, are you ready for that?" he asked gently. "I am," she said, her voice firm now. "It's my choice." Sophia straightened, slowly gathering herself. "You want to throw away your entire life over a fantasy? It's reckless." "It's not reckless," Emily argued. "It's necessary." Jack couldn't help the rush of admiration that filled him. Emily was finding her voice, standing firm in her truth. Sophia, visibly shaken now, narrowed her eyes at Jack. "You think you're saving her? You're just leading her astray." "Maybe," Jack shot back, his voice steady. "But it's her life. Not yours. Not mine. If she wants to choose her own path, who are we to stop her?" The silence that followed was electric. Sophia's expression flickered with uncertainty as she wrestled with her own convictions. "Emily, whatever comes next, know that I'll be here," Jack said softly, feeling the weight of hope in the air. The moment felt fragile but alive, filled with the potential for something new. Emily stood at the precipice of her decision, her gaze shifting between Jack and the wall of expectations laid out by Sophia. Finally, she took a deep breath. I choose to find out who I am." A pin-drop silence followed. Would Sophia continue the battle, or would she relent? As uncertainty loomed over the diner once more, Jack felt a swell of anticipation. Change had ignited, but would the flames consume them, or could they forge something beautiful from the ashes? "What happens now?" he asked, knowing the answer could shift everything. Emily glanced at Sophia, then back to Jack, her expression a mix of expectation and fear. "Now we see if I really can escape or if I'm truly trapped." The air hung heavy with tension, like a thick fog creeping in from the ocean. Emily's heart raced, a wild stallion that wanted to leap into freedom. She could feel the intensity of Jack's gaze, urging her to move forward, but Sophia stood there, a stone wall of expectations just waiting to crash down around her. Emily, think. Sophia's voice pierced through the haze, almost frantic. You're throwing away everything you've built. Those connections don't come easily. You'll be alone in this. Emily swallowed hard, her throat dry. She felt alone already, trapped in a life that wasn't truly hers. Every glance from other patrons felt like a spotlight, questioning her sanity. It was hard to breathe under the weight of so many eyes, yet Jack's presence grounded her. With a deep breath, she turned her focus back to Jack. He looked at her with a gentle determination, and in that moment, she saw a future, a chance at something real. I'm ready to face it all, she said, the strength in her voice surprising even her. Sophia shook her head, her disbelief morphing into anger. You think this choice will free you? Real life isn't just about chasing dreams on some romantic whim. You'll pay the price. And you're willing to let that price be my happiness? Emily shot back, her voice steady. I can't live my life in fear of what might happen. I owe it to myself to at least try. Jack stepped forward, the heat of confidence emanating from him. Sophia, you must see it's not about abandoning anything. She's claiming her own story. Isn't that what we all want? The diner quieted, conversations tapering off as people leaned in, captivated by the unfolding drama. Emily's heart quickened. This was her moment. It felt monumental, a ripple that could change everything. The tension charged the room, every moment stretched into eternity. Sophia's expression flickered a crack in her facade. Why would you follow him? He's nothing but a distraction. The acute sting in those words rose around them, creating a barrier between the trio. No, Emily said, her voice trembling slightly but full of conviction. He's my chance to see the world with new eyes, my chance to truly be myself. Isn't that worth something? The magnitude of her words settled in the stillness. Jack's eyes shimmered. He infused warmth into her courage. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, Em. You get to write your own story now. Let us not look back. The patrons began murmuring, and Emily felt the collective energy shifting. They seemed invested, rooting for her. For the first time in her life, the risk didn't seem like a barricade, but a door. In that moment, she grasped both the enormity and the simplicity of choice, the choice to leap into the unknown. She felt powerful, untethered from the past's grip. Okay, I'm ready, she said, voice steady. Let us go. But as she stepped towards Jack, Sophia blocked her way, jaw clenched, eyes flaring with resolve. You will regret this day, Emily, she warned, her voice low and dangerous. Maybe, Emily said, her heart pounding, but a smile playing on her lips. But I won't know unless I try. Sophia's face twisted, a blend of anger and something softer, a hint of fear perhaps. For the first time, Emily saw something human behind the icy demeanor. You think you can run? Then go. But the world can be cruel. As they pushed past Sophia, the weight of the decision settled heavily on Emily's shoulders like the first gust of wind that makes a tree bend against its own roots. Jack's hand met hers, fingers intertwining. Are you sure you want to do this? He asked, a hint of hesitation coloring his voice. Yes, Emily whispered, a mix of fear and exhilaration coursing through her veins. It's time. Great, Jack said, a grin breaking through the tension. Then here we go. But as they turned towards the exit, a heavy, familiar voice called out through the diner. You think you can just walk away without talking to me? Emily. Emily froze, her breath hitching as she recognized that voice. It was her mother's, cutting through the air with all the authority of a storm. Heart racing, Emily turned, knowing that this moment could change everything again. What did she want now? Emily's heart dropped. The world around her faded, leaving her with just the sound of her mother's voice, piercing and accusatory. She could feel Jack's hand slacken, his grip easing as he sensed the shift in the air. What do you mean you can just walk away? Her mother pressed, pushing her way into the space between them. Her expression was a mixture of disappointment and fury, a storm brewing just beneath her perfectly composed surface. I didn't ask for your permission, Emily shot back, her voice strong despite the trembling in her chest. I'm finally making a choice for myself. You think this reckless decision is freedom? Her mother scoffed, hands on her hips. You're about to make a mistake that could ruin your whole life. You're throwing everything away, your future, your stability, all for what? A wild fantasy. Emily could feel the tears brimming in her eyes, but she blinked them back. She knew her mother thought she was protecting her, but all she felt was trapped. It's not a fantasy. Jack makes me feel alive. Alive? Her mother echoed, disbelief etched across her face. You mean impulsive? This is not just about you, Emily. You have responsibilities. This is a huge mistake. The diner's atmosphere thickened, tension rising like steam from a boiling pot. Glancing around, Emily could see the patrons were watching with bated breath, caught up in a show they never wanted to witness. Murmurs rippled through the room, and she felt exposed, like a piece of art under scrutiny in a gallery. Mom, please, Emily pleaded, gripping Jack's hand tightly as if he were her anchor. I can't keep living for everyone else. I have to do this for me. Jack stepped in, his voice calm but confident. I promise to take care of Emily. She deserves a chance to chase her dreams. Her mother quickened her pace, closing the distance between them. You don't know anything about my daughter. This is all foolishness and escape. You're a distraction, nothing more. Emily flinched at the harshness in her mother's words, but she knew in her heart that she had to stand firm. No, he's not. He's inspiring me to be more than what I've been. I'm not running away. I'm running towards something real. The air in the diner crackled as Emily's conviction met the resistance of her mother's expectations. A silence washed over them for a heartbeat, a pause that felt heavy with unspoken truths. Do you really believe that? Her mother asked, the ice in her tone beginning to thaw. Do you think it will really be different? Emily paused, the weight of her mother's gaze digging deep into her soul. Could it be? Would this truly change everything? In all of her imaginations, she'd never let herself dwell on the consequences. Perhaps that was the crux of all her fears. Yes, I do, she finally said, the confidence in her voice wrapping around her like a warm blanket. I'll find my way, Mom, even if it's difficult. Her mother's eyes softened, if only slightly. There was a flicker of uncertainty in her expression, a crack in what had always been so rigid. What if you fail? Silence hung once more, and Emily could feel the weight of that question echoing through the room. Was failure truly an option? Or was it a necessary step on her journey? I can't live my life fearing failure, Emily whispered, adrift in the moment. Her mother sighed, the tension around her easing just a bit. But before anything else could be said, Jack squeezed her hand. Let us go, Emily. We can't let fear hold us back. And with a final glance back at her mother, a tumult of love and apprehension swirling behind their gazes, Emily turned and walked towards the door. The diners whispered, conversations buzzing quietly around them like the wings of startled birds, but all she could feel was focused clarity. As they stepped out into the night, the cool air wrapped around them, refreshing and full of possibilities. Emily inhaled deeply, the smell of the ocean mingling with the warmth of Jack's presence beside her. But even in her moment of triumph, a whisper of doubt lingered in her mind, an unsettling feeling that this was just the beginning of something monumental. Are you ready for what's next? Jack asked, glancing over at her with that unyielding warmth in his eyes. Emily hesitated, the weight of the unknown pressing against her heart. I think so, she replied, her voice wavering, but just as she replied, her phone buzzed in her pocket, a message she hadn't expected. It was from Sophia, and it simply read, "You can't run away from your past forever." Emily's heart dropped. What did it mean? Without another word, her eyes darted to Jack's, uncertainty washing over her again. This was only the beginning of facing everything she'd left behind. What else would she have to confront? Emily's heart raced as she stared at her phone, the screen pulsing with Sophia's words. Each letter felt like a stone, heavy and foreboding. You can't run away from your past forever. The weight of it pressed on her chest, smothering the exhilaration she had just felt. What's wrong? Jack noticed her expression change, his brow furrowing with concern. It's just a text from Sophia, she stammered, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. She thinks I'm running from something. His gaze sharpened. Are you? The question hung in the air between them, fierce and unyielding. Emily opened her mouth to respond but instead found herself lost in thought. Was she running? She had left home in pursuit of dreams, yes. But was her mother's voice still echoing in her mind like a relentless tide? Maybe we should, Jack began, but she interrupted him. No. I need a moment. The street felt both foreign and familiar. The sounds of the night swirled around her but she needed distance, clarity. Emily turned and stepped away from Jack, needing to gather herself. She paced along the sidewalk, the cool air brushing against her skin, tinged with the saltiness of the ocean nearby. A part of her wanted to flee, to forget the impending confrontation with her past. But she couldn't ignore it. What if I fail? Echoes of her mother's voice twisted in her mind, simple, piercing, devastating. But then a scorching resolve rippled through her, mingling with the cold night air. Emily sank onto a nearby bench, the stillness around her contrasting with the whirlwind within. She braced herself. Looking out at the water shimmering under the streetlights, she remembered when she had first shared her dreams with Sophia. The laughter, the plans, the bright futures ahead, it felt like a distant memory now. The road to her dream had become a jagged, winding path. Emily. Jack's voice was cautious as he approached, his shadow merging with hers in the dim light. Are you okay? I don't know, she confessed, staring ahead, unable to meet his eyes. What if there are pieces of my past I can't escape? What if they catch up with me, and I'm not ready for them? He sat down next to her, the warmth of his body a comforting anchor. You won't face them alone. I'll be right here. He took her hand gently, his fingers weaving through hers, offering a softness she desperately craved. We can figure it out. Together. Together. The word resonated, but fear gnawed at her. What if I find out things about myself I don't want to know? Or things I can't change? Will you still want to be there? Absolutely. You're not defined by your past. You're defined by what you choose to do now. He squeezed her hand. And I believe in you, Emily. I really do. The honesty in his words wrapped around her like a lifeline. She inhaled deeply, chasing away the shadow of doubt. But what if? Stop. Don't let the what-ifs drown out the chance for what can be. You're so much more than the pain you're carrying. His sincerity sparked something deep within her. Maybe it was time to confront not just her mother's fears, but her own. Time to dissect the past and find pieces that could heal, rather than haunt. Okay, she whispered, a flicker of courage igniting. Let us do this. Jack smiled, a warmth that filled the air around them, and suddenly, the night didn't feel so daunting. With him by her side, she felt emboldened. But just as she began to breathe a little easier, her phone buzzed again. Another message from Sophia. Anxiety clawed at her stomach. Emily, you need to listen to me. You're about to uncover the truth about your father. Don't ignore it. Panic surged in her. What truth? As her heart raced, a part of her yearned for answers, while another begged for silence. She turned to Jack, their earlier resolve warring with her rising fear. What have I gotten myself into? In the depths of her uncertainty, she wondered if some secrets or truths were better left buried. Was she truly ready to face everything? Or would the past swallow her whole? Emily stared at her phone, her breathing shaky as she processed Sophia's words. Jack's presence next to her felt comforting yet overwhelming. A truth about my father, she murmured, confusion swirling in her mind. What does that even mean? Jack asked, concern etched on his face. I don't know. Her voice trembled. Sophia, she never just sends texts like this. It feels serious. Jack leaned closer, concern deepening in his eyes. Maybe you should talk to her. Find out what she means. Emily sighed, running a hand through her hair, frustration bubbling up. It's just I've spent so much time trying to escape my past. What if it's something I can't handle? Or maybe it's something you need to know. He spoke softly, his tone encouraging. You're stronger than you think. The wind rustled through the leaves, and she took a deep breath, trying to steady her racing heart. You're right, but what if this is the thing that unravels everything? What if knowing changes the very core of who I am? Jack squeezed her hand. Then we'll face it together. Whatever it is, it doesn't change how I feel about you. His words were a balm to her frayed nerves, yet doubt clung to her like a shadow. I just wish it could stay buried, she admitted, staring at the waves crashing softly against the shore. I've worked so hard to build this life, what if it all crumbles? What do you want to do? Jack asked, gently guiding her focus back to him. The sincerity in his eyes anchored her, urging her to ground herself in the moment. She couldn't shake off the unease. I want to run away from it all. I want to slam the door on the past and never look back. But you can't, he countered. You're not that person anymore. Facing it could be freeing. Freeing, the word lingered in the cold air between them. Freedom felt both exhilarating and terrifying. A moment of silence passed as Emily contemplated the text on her phone, the weight of her past pressing into her thoughts. Faced with the prospect of a conversation that could either heal or harm, she needed time to think. Maybe it won't be so bad. Jack offered, attempting to break the tension that hung between them like thick fog. The past is just that, the past. You've come so far since then. I know, she whispered, her fingers brushing the screen of her phone. But it changes everything. What if the man I build in my mind isn't who I find? How do I reconcile my memories with reality? What if it doesn't change you at all? His gentle voice broke through her swirling thoughts. You could find new layers to yourself that you never knew existed. His perspective shifted something within her. She wasn't just running from her past, she was running toward the truth of herself, no matter how painful it might be. Taking a deep breath, she finally met his gaze, a flicker of resolve igniting within her. Let us see what she has to say. I owe it to myself, and to you. Jack smiled, relief washing over his face. I'll be right with you. Whatever happens next, we'll tackle it together. Suddenly, the night felt less ominous, the weight on her chest easing slightly. Together. That was a word she needed to hold on to as she prepared to unravel everything. Before she could let herself feel too confident, her phone buzzed again. The screen lit up with a fresh message from Sophia. A pit formed in her stomach as she opened the text. Emily, it's bigger than you think. You must be ready for what you find. Her heart skipped a beat. What was waiting for her? She turned to Jack, her voice barely a whisper. What if I find something I never wanted to know? With unwavering firmness, he replied, then we'll face it together. No matter what. As the weight of their words settled into silence, Emily felt a shift within her. The tides of her past were rising. Was she ready to face the waves, or would they wash her away for good? Emily's heart raced as she held Jack's gaze, the reassuring strength of his presence mingling with the dread creeping into her chest. The ocean waves crashed softly in the background, echoing her inner turmoil. She had longed to escape the weight of her family's expectations, but now, with Sophia's message looming like a storm cloud over her head, she felt the pull of the past more than ever. Jack, she breathed, the tremor in her voice betraying the courage she was trying to summon. What if the truth brings everything crashing down? What if who I find there isn't who I wanted to remember? Jack's smile turned earnest, his dark eyes reflecting the determination she craved. The truth can be difficult, Em. But it can also be freeing. Look at what you've already confronted. You chose to walk away from that life to discover who you are. You've shown more bravery than anyone I know. His words hung in the air, anchoring her as she shifted her focus to the daunting unknown ahead. You really believe that? She asked, searching his face. Absolutely, he replied. Take it as a chance to discover your family's truth and your truth. You're stronger than you give yourself credit for. A flutter of hope ignited within her, fragile yet bright. And if it changes everything I thought I knew? Jack squeezed her hand tighter. Then it changes everything. But if you own it, embrace it, then it becomes part of your journey. Not your destination. He was right. Facing her father's truth might shatter her perceptions but also began a path to finding freedom not just from family burdens, but from the unearned guilt she had carried for too long. Her pulse quickened as the realization settled in. It was time to stop running. All right, I'm ready to see what Sophia wants, she said, her heart thumping loudly, adrenaline sparking through her veins. I can't hide anymore. A proud smile broke through Jack's earlier concern. All around them, the world felt electric, filled with potential. Let us go, he said, leading her back toward the diner, each step a mix of anxiety and anticipation. As they approached, the warm, inviting lights of the diner glowed, contrasting with the chilly tension Emily felt inside. They stepped back into the bustling atmosphere, where conversations buzzed like a delicious hum, but this time, Emily didn't feel overshadowed, she felt alive, ready to confront the chaotic symphony of her past. Where is Sophia? She asked, scanning the room. Right over there, Jack pointed to a corner booth where Sophia sat, a serene mask of professionalism plastered over her concern. Ready when you are. Taking a deep breath, Emily interlaced her fingers with Jack's for strength and marched towards Sophia, her shoulders squared, the weight of their shared journey behind her. Emily, you made it, Sophia greeted, though her expression twisted slightly with tension as she caught sight of Jack. I was beginning to think you would run. No, Emily said firmly, the simple word imbued with newfound power. I won't run anymore. Let us talk. Sophia nodded, a flash of surprise crossing her face, and gestured for them to take a seat. Good. I have things to discuss that you need to hear. About your father. Emily's heart pounded, uncertainty churning inside her. What about him? Sophia leaned in slightly, the tension palpable. There are elements of your family history that you need to understand, secrets that could change how you see everything. You deserve to know. Jack nodded supportively, giving Emily a reassuring squeeze. With a deep breath, she pushed the doubt aside. Let us begin. As Sophia began to unveil the intricate details spanning across Emily's family, layers of hidden truths that revealed not just her father's life, but the very foundations that shaped her own, each piece of information felt heavy yet liberating all at once. The ties that once bound her felt poised to untangle as she finally processed her life, weaving together the story she'd always lived with the unfolding reality. In the whirlwind of revelations, Emily realized that her father was more than just a wealthy man in a suit. He was a complex person, full of flaws. And with that understanding came release. She didn't have to carry the world he built on her shoulders. Jack's voice brought her back, soft and rhythmic amidst the cascading words spilling from Sophia's lips. You've got this. She looked at him, heart swelling with gratitude for his unwavering support. It wasn't just about running towards a new life anymore, it was ensuring the new life had deep foundations, built on truth, acceptance, and love. Finally, she turned back to Sophia. What does this mean for me? Sophia met her gaze, the imperious mask dropping slightly. You get to decide. Whether rebuilding that relationship with your father is something you want or if it's time to create a new one, free from the expectations that once held you back. A deep silence filled the space. Choices laid before her like stepping stones across a raging river. I don't need his approval, Emily said slowly, realization dawning brightly within her. I can be who I'm meant to be, no matter how he sees me. Jack's proud smile warmed her heart, igniting the excitement of newfound possibilities ahead. No longer tied to old expectations, she felt buoyancy in her chest. Exactly, Sophia affirmed. You can let the past inform you, but you don't have to let it define you. In that moment, Emily found clarity radiant and fierce, a resolve to forge ahead into the unknown with Jack by her side. Life didn't exist in neat packages of wealth or expectations, it was messy, beautiful, and full of love. Then let us move forward, she stated firmly. The word solidified a promise to herself, to embrace whatever came next, to own her journey, and find joy in every moment. As they stood together at the edge of transformation, Emily felt as if she could finally breathe. She looked at Jack, whose gaze promised loyalty, love, and adventure, and knew they were ready to face the future together. As if charged, they stepped into the night, hearts aligned, with the light of hope illuminating their way as they moved towards something incredible, something genuinely real. Now, let this be the moment you take action. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories on journeys just like Emily's. It's time to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread the love of storytelling. And don't forget to comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending. Did you feel the hope? Did it inspire you? But most importantly, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation and embrace their own truths. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Let's keep spreading these powerful stories.